Tom is the president of the Colorado Property Rights Coalition, which is a 501c4 nonprofit corporation, probably investigated by the IRS, that is funded solely by donations. The group's objectives and purpose shall include fighting for property rights for all Colorado citizens, educate, inform, and advocate on behalf of its corporation, its members, and the general public in regard to property rights. And he's been very active and involved in Denver, Windsor, Longmont, Westminster, several other communities around here, and been very successful. Tom, take it away. Please welcome him.
Thank you. We got started, probably about 14 years ago when the computers first came out. Some of you probably don't remember, but your file formats only had 3 letters, and one of the formats for it was on a picture was TIF. And all of a sudden I saw Urban Renewal that had TIF on it. And I thought, what kind of pictures are they using? So I started investigating, and I ran into flow charts and little spreadsheets that talked about money. I thought, gee, how dumb am I? So I started investigating, and what we did was we started, I live in Arvada, Jefferson County, Colorado, and we decided that we would investigate just how TIF played out in these areas. Well, everything we did, we had to go with a CORE request, Colorado Open Records Act, similar to the Federal Information Act. So we hit the Jefferson County with a CORE request, asking them what it was, and they kind of explained it. So we went in and we said, okay, we'd like to follow it on. So what we did, we followed it for the entire original Arvada Urban Renewal project, which was started in 1981 and ran. It was supposed to go through 2006, but they sunset it early. And the blue part of it shows this is your frozen base right here. This is the amount of tax increment that was kept from your public entities, your schools, your police departments. Actually, not the police department, because this was just property tax. Police comes off sales tax, but it went to the schools, the fire departments, your parks and recreation. All, if you take your property tax form and flip it over, it'll show all the different taxing entities that are affected by this split right here. So that's what we first started, and then we thought, well, gee, this is kind of fun. Let's see what's next. So here we went to Adams County for this year, and as you can see, the base value, which is the blue frozen value. Here's your tax increment, and here's your total value. And as you can see, there's $348 million in Jefferson, or in Adams County, that was withheld from your taxing authorities, where they could get their money for the schools, fire departments, parks and recreation. This is what it looks like. As you can see, South Thornton is practically all blue. That's because they haven't done much urban renewal within that area. Over here, the WEDA, Westminster Economic Development Authority, North here, is practically all orange. That means there is very little frozen base in there, probably open fields, and everything else is going into your urban renewal. It's not going into your taxing authorities. So then we moved on to Arapahoe. We did the 5-county area, and here again is, you can see there's a total of $176 million that is kept from the taxing authorities again. Can you hear me okay? Little. Okay, is this better? Okay, sorry. Okay. And here again is how we charted it, showing the difference. There's your frozen base down below from Glendale over to the Sheridan and the Center Point, how it's split up. We moved on to Denver, or Broomfield, sorry. Another $199 million kept from your taxing authorities. And here's your US 36. This is where they're building the area for the toll lanes going from Westminster up into Boulder. It's all under construction yet, so there's not much property being invested in right now. It's strictly street widening. Then we moved to Denver. Okay. But there's $976 million, again, withheld from your taxing authorities in the county of Denver. And as you can see, a lot of them are just barely shown on there. That's because there's not a whole lot. They go through and create these urban renewal areas. They're set up for 25 years, but they don't do anything for the first 10, 15 years. So, but you can see there's Stapleton, which is right across the street here. Very little frozen tax base, and the reason for that is it was government-owned property. Government-owned property, whether it's your state, county, state, county, or federal, pays no property tax, it pays no sales tax. Why would you pay money to yourself? And so that's why there's very little tax base, and you can see how it blossomed up. All that money is going into your urban renewal. It's not going into your taxing authorities again. We then moved to Jefferson County. Another $364 million that was withheld from your taxing authorities. And here you have your charts again. This is West Colfax Avenue. It's been on the board since 2003, but they have not done much of the urban renewal within that area. We are now in the process of trying to protect one of the property owners that lived at 14th and Wadsworth. They had the business located there. They kicked them out of there, or eminent domained them. They moved over onto West Colfax, but Colfax and Sims, now they're being hit with, again, even though they cleared the property out of the blight, now they're trying to force them in, and that is what's going on right there. Here is your 5-county total area, how the urban renewal is split up between the 5 counties. You can see Denver has 65%, Jefferson County has 12%, and so on. This is how it's split up. So Ralston Fields, which is in Jefferson County, it's just one project. It was where the old Ridge Home, which was a government-owned entity, was done. $76 million is withheld from the authorities there. And they talk about sales tax. Well, both the property tax and the sales tax will be split up between the two. So what we did was we decided we'd hit Arvada urban renewal area, and the city financial chief, what is the frozen base and what is the TIF that is going within that Ralston Fields area? The base value is right here. This is the total assessment. They are losing an average of $204,000 a year. They are not even making their tax base, even though that there was no taxes paid within that area during that first time. What they did was, in this area, they created what is called a PIF, a property improvement fee. I don't know if you're familiar with it. If you picked up one of these folders in back, there's a page on what is TIF and what is PIF in there. But property improvement fee, there's two steps to it. One is a add-on property improvement fee, and there is also one I call it in lieu of, or instead of. And what that is you have let's say a 5% sales tax. So you sell something for $10, your sales tax would be 50 cents. Well, they decide, okay, we're going to add a 2.5% PIF on that. So they would take the $10, multiply by the 2.5%, and then you would add your 5% sales tax on top of that. The other one is in lieu of. What they do is instead of a 5% sales tax, they take off 2.5% of the sales tax and put it on as a PIF. So you're paying the 5%, but 2.5% goes to the city. The other 2.5% goes into urban renewal, which in turn allows urban renewal to reduce the cost to the developer, whether it's through a reduced rent, help pay for any improvements within there, and that's how that's what we studied over these years, and that basically concludes our study on it. Now they say, why is it unsustainable? You can't keep taking money out of the taxing authorities and giving it to the developers and expect anything to happen. So what happened was, first of all, we noticed several stories in the paper over the last several months. 80% of people want single-family homes. All these urban renewals are building TODs, high-density housing. There's a shortage of 30,000 units of affordable housing within the Denver area. Are they getting it? No, because they're building the TODs. There's I'll call it a flaw in the state law, that if a developer comes in and we're supposed to give them 10% affordable housing in a new project, they can pay dollars to get out of that requirement. So they would rather pay the penalty so they don't have to build the affordable housing and sell the property for more money than they would get by reduced rent. Story recently in the paper said a Denver court, and here's a government worker, can't afford to rent a doghouse in the Hilltop area because she's priced out of it because of this deal here. Sun Valley plans for removal of dilapidated buildings because they want to do TOD and TIF around the light rail station. Again, Westminster has a light rail station going in where the old Westminster Mall is. They're thinking about TODs again. Also, Frontier Renewal, that is clearing up the old Gates rubber plant over here on South Broadway. It's prime property for a TOD. Gee, I wonder where that came from. Now, because of all this money going into the urban renewal, Jefferson County just recently raised the mill levy on your property tax because they didn't have enough money. They dipped into their reserves, so they had to raise money. They couldn't go to the voters because of the voters' rejection, but by law they can go in and raise it at 2 mills, which isn't much, but it's still 2 mills. West Metro Fire District proposes cuts in services because we turned down their tax increase, because they needed more money. South Suburban Parks and Recreation asked for a mill levy. Beaumont wants to levy sales taxes on an area that they tried to annex over 5 miles away from where they are. They wanted to annex that part into their city and then levy a sales tax. Wheat Ridge is asking the cities for a sales tax increase. And Foothills Parks and Recreation wants to ask for a tax increase also. So you can't keep asking for a tax increase and then sending that money into urban renewal, because it does go through the proportion part where a part of the sales tax will go back into urban renewal, even with the new tax increases. It's all yours.
Oh, okay. We have a couple of minutes. A couple of minutes here, Tom. Can you? There's a lot of people from out of state, like myself here, and maybe you could clarify on the TIF, tax incremental financing. What you're saying, I'm not real clear on. Is it you're angry about the fact that TIF is being taken away from paying for basic services and used for urban renewal? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's like, I don't know how many of you have children, but you give your child $5 to go to the grocery store and buy you $5 worth of groceries. He goes to the grocery store, he spends $2 on groceries and $3 on candy for himself. This is what urban renewal is doing. They're taking your $5, they're giving $2 to your taxing authorities, which are supposed to be getting the whole $5, and they're taking the $3 and spending on urban renewal. Several years ago, the project that this project right here, one of the TV channels did a investigative report on it, find out they were taking the money, going out to Las Vegas. They were spending $40 for a bus or a cab ride from one side of the street to the other side. They couldn't walk over. They were spending $40 for it. So yes, I would say I'm a little ticked off at urban renewal, but it's Estes Park had created some urban renewal areas, and they were doing nothing with it. They were just taking the money and hoarding it. The same. That's why California went through and did away with their urban renewals. It's not that it's not doing it good. It's the way they're doing it, and it's strictly a ripoff.
Okay. The other question was a TOD. For us that don't know what that is, can you explain what a TOD is, please?
Okay, TOD is transit-oriented development. Anytime you have the light rail system has 57 light rail stops. Each one of those, they draw a circle around that bus. Well, they draw two circles. One is a quarter-mile radius, where they want high-density development within it. The second one is between the quarter-mile and the half-mile radius. They want to do medium-density housing. And just to throw a little mud in the water there, TOD is also referred to as MOD, M-O-D, Mobile-Oriented Development. On our website, we have a whole list of definitions that deal with urban renewal. So it's fun.
Okay.